Bonjour les amis! If you dream of speaking the language of love, but you're kind of scared by French's unique pronunciation and grammar rules, don't give up just yet. In this video, you'll learn all you need to know about the main difficulties you might encounter and how to embrace these challenges with confidence. How many people do you think speak French around the world? You might think we only speak French in France and a little in Canada, but no, there are an estimated 320 million French speakers in the world, which makes French the fifth most widely spoken language in the world, counting both native and non-native speakers. Not bad. There are 29 countries that have French as an official language, including Belgium, Switzerland, Côte d'Ivoire, Madagascar, Haiti, and many others. But among these countries, French is not always the main language. In Canada, for example, the two official languages are English and French, and French is mostly spoken in the province of Quebec. Other countries not included in this list do not have French as an official language, but its presence is still significant. Take, for example, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria. There are many French speakers in each of these countries. And there are also, of course, the overseas territories, those heavenly islands that are very much a part of France. French is difficult. Le français c'est difficile. This is a favorite phrase for many French learners. But French isn't that difficult. Alright, maybe just a little. It's true that the French language loves exceptions and that the pronunciation is sometimes bizarre. But nothing's impossible, I assure you. If you have any knowledge of Romance languages, such as Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian, you'll see that these languages are very similar because they belong to the same family. So memorizing the vocabulary will be just a formality for you. That's already an advantage. Check these words out for je bois du café. They're very similar, right? And you'll also find similarities if you speak English. The subject, verb, object structure is the same, so there's no confusion about word order. Also, there are a lot of Anglicisms in French. Un job, un chewing-gum, une start-up. And finally, let's not forget cognates. They're not quite the same as loan words. Rather, they have similar origins in Latin, and as a result, they look and sound similar in their respective languages. For example, surprise, communication, accident, reservation. Now let's take a closer look at what the language looks like. French pronunciation can be like a Chinese puzzle. The letters are the pieces, but they don't seem to fit together. They create weird associations that form even weirder sounds. E and A and U is pronounced O. What? Did you know that this comes from Old French, which was made up of diphthongs and triphthongs that later become single vowels? For example, fou and fleur. Those 2 or 3 letters are pronounced as only one sound. But I have good news for you. French pronunciation follows precise rules. So once you master some difficult sounds and you grasp these rules, there will be no surprises. An example. The mentioned group ou is always pronounced the same way.
Fou, gou, bou, mou.
No exceptions here. To make pronunciation easier in French, you have to listen and speak as much as possible. At the beginning, start talking to yourself. It's okay. Or even to your pets. With films, songs, podcasts, listen to as much native French as you can and repeat what you hear out loud. It works every time. One of the best exercises you can do to improve your pronunciation is shadowing. Shadowing is like personifying someone, especially their pronunciation. Choose an actor or a podcast presenter you like. Then listen to and mimic simple phrases that he or she pronounces to get as close as possible to native pronunciation. Grammar. It's a bit like Voldemort in the Harry Potter's movies. You should not pronounce its name. Just like all Latin languages, French grammar rules can be quite complex if you speak a language coming from another family. But the good news is, it's not always tricky. Take the order of words in a sentence. It's the same structure as in English. For example, je mange un fruit. Subject, verb, object. Just like in English, I eat a fruit. Okay, fine. I might have chosen an easy example. It's true that sentence structure can change. French uses a lot more articles than English. For example, we'll say, je mange des fruits. I eat fruits. See how just one word already changes the whole sentence? What do you mean I chose another easy example? Okay, that's true. The plural article is an easy guess, as there's only one article for both masculine and feminine. In French, nouns do have a gender, and you need to adapt singular articles to this gender. For example, un livre is a book. Une voiture is a car. Why? Who knows? That's the magic of French. But not everybody believes in magic, so I will give you a few tips. Be careful though. Those are general rules that work in most cases. Of course, there are exceptions, as always. For example, you can memorize these words as masculine. Most of the words, but not all, ending in ion, un papillon, in ie, un quartier, in rond, un macaron, or in événement, un événement. Same for the feminine. Most of the words ending in ad, une salade, in aison, une maison, in zion, une révision, in sion, une passion. These are just a few examples, but as you can see, there are always a few tricks to help you. To make it easier to learn, look at sentence patterns. Make a list of simple sentences you would use every day and memorize them. Repeat them every day. Or, even better, learn all the useful sentences we've already prepared for you on the MosaLingua app. Then, review them using our app's spaced repetition system. Little by little, they will sound natural and you will use the correct structure without even thinking about it. And here is another tip for you. At the beginning, learn the essentials. The present, the past, and the future tenses, for example. Don't learn the subjunctive if you're not going to use it. Then, identify your mistakes and concentrate on improving them. "32,000 words in French is a lot to learn. The good news is you definitely don't need all of them. Once again, only study the essentials. Focus on the words you need. If you're a mechanic, you will need to memorize some specific words related to your job. But if you're a florist, those words won't be useful for you. It's all about context and what's necessary. Finally, use the words you've learned in context. If you've learned fruits and veggies, name them when you go to the market. We are all a little afraid to take the plunge and learn a new language. We don't feel comfortable, we are scared of making mistakes, but go for it. Of course you will make mistakes. That's normal, and that's okay. You will still be understood. Accept the fact that your French won't be perfect, and you will already feel much more confident. In the end, the good thing is that to tackle all these challenges, you only need 2 secret weapons: motivation and regularity. Staying motivated is not always easy. Keep your goal in mind. Write down on a post-it note why you want to learn French and stick it somewhere you will always see it. You can add photos if you like. Then, Make learning a habit. If learning is part of your daily routine, that's already a step forward. So you might be thinking, okay, fine, you have a point. French is beautiful, it's not that difficult to learn, but why should I go to the trouble? Once again, dear friends, I'm going to show you that there are many excellent reasons to learn French. French is one of the only languages spoken on all 5 continents. This means that from a professional point of view, French will open the door to many positions all over the world. It's the ideal way to discover new surroundings and broaden your professional horizons. French culture is much more than just croissant, baguette, and cheese, even though I have to admit it, these are already excellent examples. By learning French, you will also have access to the culture of this beautiful country, art, literature, gastronomy, cinema, and let's not forget other French-speaking countries. Each has its own identities to discover. With so many French speakers in the world, knowing the language will be a considerable asset for communicating while traveling abroad. And here is a little tip. If you want to travel to an island paradise and speak French at the same time, don't forget that France also includes the overseas territories, regions and departments in the Pacific, Oceania, the Caribbean. Sounds dreamy, doesn't it? Learning any language is a long-term process. Rome wasn't built in a day, and the same goes for the French language. It's impossible to put an exact figure on this because every learning situation is different. The time it will take you to learn French depends basically on 6 key factors. Your goal. Are you interested in getting by in French for your next weekend in Paris? Or do you want to take an official advanced exam in this language? Your linguistic background. How close is French to your native language or another language you already speak? Your level of commitment. How good are you at keeping yourself motivated and devoting time to studying, practicing, and using French in real-life situations? Your language environment. How much are you able to immerse yourself in the language, using it to listen to the radio, watching videos, series, and movies, and talking to native speakers and so on? And your learning method. Do you have a visual memory? An auditory memory? Everyone learns in different ways. Finding a method that suits you best and adapting your learning can make a huge difference on how fast you get results. Et voilà! You know everything there is to know before you start learning French. Now, all you have to do is get started. Happy learning!
If you learned something new from this video, give it a thumbs up. Then, hit subscribe and turn on your notifications. Have a look around our channel for more hacks and tips. And if you're watching on another social media platform, like or follow our page. See you next time.